everyone, and welcome to Kalogon Presents. My name is Wendy Underwood, and I'll be your host today. And I have with me the amazing Kenny, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. And I know that our viewers are going to get so much more information as we go along. But a little bit about Kenny. He lives a very active, seated life. He's an avid scuba diver, hand cyclist, CrossFit athlete, and enjoys kayaking and rowing, all kinds of great stuff. He has over 1,000 Florida and Caribbean hours, diving hours, on his scuba resume. When he's not in the water, working out or cycling, busy, Kenny's on the board of several charitable organizations. He serves as a board member for Thresher, an organization helping people with disabilities scuba dive, and also for GOSCIN. GOSCIN is a nonprofit group whose mission is to serve the needs of individuals in employment, adaptive sports, recreation, social functions, networking, outreach, SCI prevention, and guest speakers for the group in the greater Orlando area. Kenny finds happiness by focusing on 3 simple things: proper sleep, adequate hydration, and sitting on the right cushion. Welcome, Kenny.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
We're so happy to be talking with you today and getting to know a little bit about how you do live such an active, seated life. You do things that are amazing for anyone, much less someone living an active, seated life. So I am very happy that you're here, and I want to get right to the discussion because I know that's why our viewers have tuned in today. So how many years have you been living an active, seated life?
It's been 8 years now.
Okay.
8 years since my accident that I've been in a chair.
All right. And what are some positive ways people were able to help you in the beginning?
Luckily, I had a lot of good people around me. We had friends and family, very helpful. That's very important. I was able to start rehab as fast as possible. So I had a lot of therapists that were helping me out. I started going to CORE 3 months after injury, and that's a place that really helped me out. There were all kinds of people there that were helping me figure out how to be independent. Mm-hmm. I think probably the most positive role models I had were other people who were injured that helped me out along the way.
That's exactly why we wanted to talk to you today. So you took the words right out of my mouth. It's nice to hear from peers and to be motivated by peers. I'm a clinician and I love to push and challenge my patients, but you said it perfectly. I've noticed through my career that a lot of times it's peer-to-peer where we get the most of our motivation. Were there any, I'm going to just get to the nitty-gritty. Were there any things that people said or did and you're like, why do they keep asking me that? Why do they keep saying that? Be honest, because we don't always know what to say. And we don't have a book of how-to on when someone, is having a trauma or something, they've gone through something.
I can't think of anything real negative because I think even the people that were pessimistic about stuff, that was still a learning experience. I still learned from that. I can't think of a whole lot of negative stuff that people said to me. I know I got a couple of looks that I might have misread. Plenty of people are busy doing other things. And I think a lot of people might tend to misread that when they're busy immediately after an injury, trying to figure out what their new normal is.
Right.
But I mean, everything, I tried to take everything in stride, and I tried to take everything as a learning experience. So even though I was told, you're never going to walk again. Well, I looked at ways of staying active and moving around as much as possible.
That couldn't have been easy. How did you keep such a positive attitude with that? Because I would hope that I would be the same thing, and people watching would hope that they would be the same way. But how did you were you a positive person before and you just tapped into that? Or how did you really stay focused on being positive with such bad news?
I think I was a positive person prior. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people after injury are still the same person, at their core. I definitely had bad days And the first year after a spinal cord injury is pretty tough for most people. I think a lot of people tell you. So it was just adapting to my new way of life. I think ultimately, getting a good amount of sleep and drinking water and eating right and staying active is what kept me positive. And support from work too. I was able to get back to work quickly. And so coworkers that I worked with are also another positive aspect that we were talking about earlier. And when you like what you do, that'll keep you positive.
I would put your activity level at like a 12 out of 10. Were you as active before the accident?
I think I'm more active now.
I was
absolutely. Before I could, still text and walk. Now, I don't know if that's a good metaphor, but I seem to be moving and shaking a lot more than I was before. But I really enjoy just jumping on my bike and get some fresh air when the weather's good.
Yep.
And diving when I can, just so I can feel like an astronaut. And even if I'm not able to do the things, if the weather's bad, I can always jump. I've got a rowing machine at home. I can jump back and jump on the rower.
A backup plan.
And stay active. And that's important. For me, I think you're going to ask this. I think what I found really helps me out is starting my day by being active. I'm able to get up and sort of hopefully get out the door and jump on a bike or get a workout in, and starting my day doing that just leads to a much better day afterwards.
Yeah, you're taking my job, sir. I was going to say, what's a day in the life, but I'm glad you brought that up. So starting your day out active sets the stage for the whole day. I love it. And starting out positive. I love that. So let's dive right in, pun intended. Right. Tell me about diving. I think that's so cool.
Oh, diving's great. I was an avid diver beforehand. So it was just a matter of getting used to how to do it this new way. The best thing about diving now is while I don't have my wheelchair with me, I'm able to, get around for the most part just as fast as everybody else. And, in a weightless environment. Mm-hmm. And there's so much to see down there too.
It's freeing.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yep. So hand cycling, let's talk about that.
Get on my hand cycle. I can, I've adapted it to fit me just right to where I'm as comfortable as possible, and the spasms are under control, and I'm able to turn well. And I've got a really nice lean to steer hand cycle, which feels a little more like a motorcycle, I guess you could say, going fast than a standard bicycle does, because the way your body moves in it.
So adapting for yourself, you do a lot of that yourself. Do you have anybody with input on that, or are you just trial and error?
There's a lot of trial and error in my life. There's a lot of tinkering. I'm kind of constantly tinkering. And that's another reason I'm pretty active nowadays. If it's not perfect, then I have to work on it to make it more perfect. I do spend a lot of time adapting things to fit me, because there's a lot of equipment out there that's not quite meant for us yet. Luckily, my hand cycle already did exist. Hand cycles were built by bodybuilders out there that just wanted a different workout. They wanted an upper body workout. This is a story I was told.
Yeah.
People that manufactured my bike out in California built this just to get an upper body workout. And it really works for me, because I'm able to get out there and enjoy the day.
Get moving. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, what about with the cycling? Mm-hmm. Any competitions?
I do. I've been part of some CrossFit competitions. Those are a lot of fun. CrossFit's been great. It's not just one hardcore workout. It's a couple of smaller workouts. It builds up my endurance. The competitions they've gotten me to train, and training for these competitions is what keeps me in a little better shape, I think. I wish I could just train for the competition, not actually do the competition, because it is pretty tough. But I've done the competitions, and I've done well, and I recommend them to everybody. You just gotta start somewhere.
Great. Have you won anything?
I've won a couple things.
Oh, good. You're so humble. I'm having to pull it out of you.
Yeah, it's it's been all right. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. I have only snorkeled. So like you're inspiring me to want to go dive. Looking at your pictures, I just think it's amazing. And I really want to see more of that, because just the way you describe all of your activities, it just really makes me want to get out there and do more too. So we can all live a more active life. And you're going to inspire a lot of people with this, I know. So you have to rely on your upper body more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about if something goes wrong there, how does that impact your whole day, life?
Mm-hmm. Yes, things are, yes. If I have a sore shoulder, that changes my day a little bit. But I adapt, and I do have to take it easy sometimes. And then when I'm feeling 100%, I can get out there and do stuff again. The nice thing about diving is it's not about exerting yourself as much as you can. You're really relaxing a lot down there. So I wouldn't call scuba diving a sport.
Okay.
It's really all about relaxing and having as much air as possible.
You're experiencing so much. Yeah.
You mentioned snorkeling. I recommend snorkeling to everybody too. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with snorkeling at all. I at some aspects, snorkeling is even better than diving, because you don't have to worry about all the equipment. You just jump in the water with a mask and you're good. So keep snorkeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to do it again. Just seeing your pictures and your video, it's really cool. So I've enjoyed getting to know you, and I know our viewers are too, but I'd like to switch gears a little bit to your charitable participation on these different charities and how you're giving back to people that, are like you or have been through similar things like you.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I'm part of Thresher, which is Thresher Aquatics. It's an organization mainly in South Florida, and we help people with disabilities get in the water. And there's just a group of people that are all just fantastic. It's boat crew, boat captains, people that know the water, love the water, they love diving, and they want to help people with disabilities go diving. And it's really, if I wanted to, I could do nothing, and they would pick me up and get me in the water and propel me around, and get me back out of the water and into my chair. I do like to participate a little if I can. But it's a really great organization with people that are just in it to win it.
I love it. And the confidence, it helps with confidence when there's people there that's what they're supposed to do. They're there to help get people into the water with all different abilities. So, going out on your own with a friend, it'd be like, oh, I'm not really sure I could do this. But having that support and that organization devoted to that, I really enjoyed hearing about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm also part of GOSCIN, which is it's the Greater Orlando Spinal Cord Injury Network. And here in Greater Orlando, we just need to get together for peer mentoring. We mainly focus on events right now, just getting people together. We just had our holiday party. It was fantastic. Just getting people together and to just get together and chat and come back from the COVID years. Right. Is a big thing. So I foresee a lot of events coming up here soon in the Orlando area.
Wonderful. And I'll put, if it's okay, I'll put those organizations at the very end, so that if people want to volunteer or make donations, we could do that.
Thanks. All the help we can get. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you talked about your keys to live in an active seated life. You have your adequate hydration. Let's talk about that one. Enough sleep.
Sleep is important.
Yeah. How do you do that? Like, how do you make sure you do that? What's the tricks of the trade?
Well, the thing is I don't always, we really don't always. I know there's a lot of people, there are a lot of spinal cord injuries that may have issues. And so they attempt to, maybe not drink enough water to avoid other aspects or avoid other things that happen because of drinking too much water. But I've noticed that hydrating well, especially in Florida, is huge, and it changes my day and just makes for a much better day. Mm-hmm. Getting enough sleep. I'm not saying I always do it, but when I do, I have a much better day. So taking steps to ensure you can get good sleep is a huge thing. Finding a way to get a solid, 7-8 hours of sleep, and then having somebody help you out of bed if needed
Did you figure it out accidentally because it worked for you when you did have good sleep? Or, is that somebody brought that up that's been through the same thing, or just that trial and error again?
It's a good question. It's probably a combination of the two. I think I believe I found out. I think everybody knows this. This goes for everybody out there in the world. Everybody needs to eat right, sleep well, and drink plenty of water just for good mental health. Even once you're injured, after a spinal cord injury, it's even more important that you do these things because, there's a couple of things that are sort of stacked against us. So it's important that we take care of the basics, and sleep and water is kind of free.
Right.
I was fortunate enough to have a memory foam bed after getting injured, and that helped out a lot. But some people don't put forth the effort to making sure they have the right sleep.
So you have really touched on those 3 keys to your happiness and being ready for that active seated life. You talked about proper sleep, adequate hydration, finding that combination that works best for you, and being comfortable. Like you talked about the mattress and being on the right cushion. Those are so important for skin integrity for anybody, but especially for somebody with a spinal cord injury. So what else do you want to elaborate on those 3 keys to happiness?
Well, get sleep. It's free and it's important. That's an easy one. Water is practically free. You can get it. It's pretty easy too, and those are just important. I could talk about cushions all day too if you want me to. It's so important. I want the right cushion everywhere. I really am a fan of the Kalogon cushion. I want to sit one. I want one on every chair. I want one in my car. I want one on my bike. It just makes life so much easier. You can't always do pressure releases easily everywhere you are. And some people have a real hard time doing them correctly, period. So
that's interesting because you have such good upper body strength, to be able to reposition, but not every time you're supposed to. So I'm glad you brought that up because having that reminder and having the cushion have a bladder of air to help you with that is huge. So some people viewing this, watching this, whether it's while we're on here and they're watching, or maybe they watch it on demand later down the road. Maybe they're newer in their injury. Maybe they're thinking, I can't go out and dive. Like, that's just not possible for me right now. It sounds cool. I'm not a cyclist. What are some things they could do right now that are a little more low impact, but could get them towards that active seated life mentality?
Well, I think the key to being active is showing up. It's getting out there. If you want to, if you hear about a gym in town that does adaptive CrossFit, say, just show up with the intention to see it. Just go take a look. It's going to be a lot of work to do that, to go and look. I realize that, but just go there with that intention. If you hear about somebody that's got a bike that they're letting people try out, or a hand cycle that let people just show up and check it out. It's 90% showing up, right? I've had days where I thought I could not do anything. I wasn't going to get any work done. I was just going to show up and do 10% of what I could do because I wasn't feeling it. And then I ended up, breaking my own personal records. I've had other days where I thought I was going to do amazing. And sure enough, I showed up, and not so much, for whatever reason, but that's okay too, because you do something. Sometimes I'm going fast on my bike. Sometimes I'm taking a nice leisurely stroll. Just show up. And I think don't cancel on things.
That's very good advice.
But as people show up to events, they learn more about how to get involved.
So I'm going to add to your keys of happiness, because I'm going to add show up to the end. I like that. That's really good advice, especially when, I'm sure there's a lot of anguish and anxiety and maybe, your mood isn't the best, but show up and don't cancel. That's very good advice. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate your time today and sharing your story and how you do live that active seated life. I think you're very humble, but you're confident. But I'm going to say it, you're an inspiration. You really are to a lot of people, whether they live a seated life or not. And I appreciate you taking the time, especially being humble and sharing what works for you and what you've been through. And I am just inspired to be more active. And I appreciate you sharing that with all of our viewers. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. You're making life a lot easier for a lot of people with disabilities. It's important that we're comfortable. That pressure sores they really wreck people's lives.
Right. And as a clinician, seeing you and hearing your story and knowing that we want to prevent those things that you just said, the pressure and the skin issues. So I want to go out now and help more patients be more active. So you're gonna help a lot of people with this. So what do you want to say to send us away?
What do I want to say to send you away? What's in the future for me? I don't know. You asked me that earlier. I'm thinking space. I'm hanging around all these engineers right now, and let's get some people with disabilities up in space, because that's really close to. It's just being weightless seems like the right thing to do. If you can't do that yet, let's go scuba diving. It's the next closest thing to being up there in space.
And it's exploration for sure.
It really is.
Either way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And I'll make sure that we get the slide up next on those charities that you work with, because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to give back like you do. So thank you for today. We appreciate it. Thank you to all our viewers, and check in the chat box if you have questions. We're going to send those answers out with our recording. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.